Alright guys, good evening again and welcome back to some more Tsukihime. Here we go. All of a sudden, things have gotten extremely awkward. I clear my throat and try to change the subject.
とにかくグローブは弱っている。今は土砂の下だけど、夜になれば這い出てくるとも言ってた。だからその前に
息の根を止める。ブローブが地上に出て血液を補充する前に倒そうって言うんでしょ。その作戦は正しいわ。人間の犠牲を出したくないっていう士気の考えにもそうものだしね。でもいや、倒しに行くなら士気だけで行けば。
あ、作戦として正しいんだろ。だいたい今自分を頼れって言ったじゃんか、お前。
それとこれとは別問題よ。私もうブローブに興味ないし、代行者がいるんでしょ。あいつらに任せておけばいいわ。私と指揮が時間を使う必要はないと思うけど。
ブローブに興味がないってなんで？
効率の話よ。私がブローブと戦う気になっていたのは私以外に倒せる相手がいなかったから。けど代行者が始末するのなら私が出張る必要はない。力も温存しておきたいし、代行者の戦力を削ぎ落とすことにもなる。ほら、手を貸す理由が全くないじゃない。
筋が通ってる。
I want to bite back, but I can't deny that her argument holds water. CL and Miss Noel are vampire hunters after all. Even if Arcade isn't their target, they aren't exactly likely to get along. From a tactical point of view, scouting out her enemies while conserving her own resources makes perfect sense. So in this route, if I choose to side with CL, Arcade becomes less involved in the forefront of getting rid of Vlav. So does that mean down the line we're gonna lose her too? Because like I said guys, it's been a while since I played the original. I don't even remember CL's route anymore. I have vague recollections of Akiha, Kohaku, and Hisui. Like I know the main points of their storylines, but with CL, I don't remember it that well anymore.
じゃあどうあってもブローブとは戦ってくれないのか、お前は。
My voice sounds surprisingly weak even to my ears. I must have been leaning on Arcade more than I'd realize.
ふん、そういう顔をするんだ。
Though perhaps that's how it should be, given that I'm only human. Fighting a vampire solo is probably a thought that would never occur to most people. I guess it just seems that the thing to do to pit my own irrational nature against his.
まあ、どうしてもって言うならそうね。指揮のお願いを聞いてあげるんだから、指揮も私のお願いを聞いてくれる？
なんだって。
私が指揮のお願いを叶えてあげるんだから、指揮も私の言うことを一つ聞く。そう約束してくれるなら、あなたに力を貸してあげなくもないけど。
なんだって。
I'm so stunned that I accidentally asked the same thing twice.
だから、指揮のためにならブローブを倒してあげてもいいって話。
Her tone is playful, but her eyes are deadly serious. I shouldn't agree to this lightly. There's no telling what kind of ridiculous demand she might make. I've seen enough over the past 2 days to know she thinks nothing of human life one way or the other.
ほら、どうするの？私にお願いする？
How did it end up like this? I'm the one who agreed to help her, but somehow our roles have been reversed? But no matter how much I turn it over in my head, I don't have a choice. I'm not strong enough to defeat Vlav on my own. And if it will prevent a repeat of the massacre at the hotel, a favor from Arcade is a small price to pay.
わかった。 頼むアルクエイド。お願いだからブローブを倒してくれ。
よーし任せて。そういうことならすぐ行きましょう。
待て、手を引っ張るなってば。すぐって深夜になるのを待たないのか。
代行者がいるんでしょ。あいつら行動だけは早いから、先を越される前にやっつけちゃおう。
やっつけるって対策は。
ブローブの呪いは炎じゃなくて霊気なんでしょ。なら簡単よ。対策はできるし、私としては相性的にそっちの方がやりやすいもの。作戦もシンプルね。私がブローブを捕まえるから、あとはあなたの目で殺すだけでいい。大丈夫、今の私と式なら一息のうちに終わらせられるから。
She takes my hand and sprints eagerly ahead. I can't help but feel that this has gotten out of control already. But my only course now is to see it through. It's just past 7 in the evening. I wonder what's happened over the past 2 hours. All I can do now is hope that Vlav is yet to claw his way out of the rubble, and trust that Arcwade is as good as her word. It's been 10 minutes since Arcwade dragged me out of her upscale apartment. We relocated to the roof of an office building, our argument all but forgotten.
ここが一番ね。下の様子がよくわかるでしょ。
With that, Arcwade finally lets me down.
おまなあ。
I sputter in protest as she lowers me to the ground. I thought I was beyond surprise at this point, but nothing could have prepared me for the experience of being cradled in her arms while she bounced up the side of the building like a rabbit.
見晴らしのいい場所なんて言わなきゃよかった。
My pounding heart gradually resumes its normal rhythm. With a few deep breaths, the dizziness brought on by the change in altitude starts to fade.
けど確かにここなら公園を一望できる。次は事前に言ってくれればこっちも準備が。アルクエイド。
Arcwade stands at the edge of the roof, staring down at the city below. An indescribable malice rises from her like steam. The situation on the ground is worse than I'd feared. The side of the collapse is covered in white mist. I can feel the chill from all the way up here. In spite of these strange phenomena, the streets are empty of curious passers-by. There seems to be traffic restrictions in place to keep people out of the area. Police cars and fire engines are out on the streets, but none of them come near. The collapse parks to see a rubble. All over the bowl-shaped crater, swords protrude from the ground. Oh, Unlimited Blade Works? The same slender longsword CL used. There must be over 100 of them driven into the earth.
100本単位の黒剣による結界。そう、四季の言う代行者ってあいつなわけ。
アルクエイド。
オドだけで作られた疑似的なテンプル。波の使徒なら閉じ込めておくどころか、あれだけで潰されておしまいでしょうけど。
Her voice is filled with fury, dripping with hatred. It's a very ordinary anger, one that feels almost human.
あれでブローブを閉じ込めているのか。でも
Most of the swords are iced over. A grim suspicion hits me regarding the unnatural code.
いいえ、まだブローブは封印中。ほら、そろそろもやが晴れるわ。
The wall of white dissipates. A colossal cube with faces like sheets of ice appears among the rubble.
なんだあれ。あんなのさっきはなかったぞ。
檻を作ってから1時間ってところかしら。急増の準備にしてはあがくじゃない、あいつ。
spot a familiar figure in front of the cube. It's Miss Noelle running to and fro with her halberd in hand. As I watch, she dashes away from the cube, then back, then away again, finally stopping to clutch her head in her hands. She literally doesn't seem to know if she's coming or going.
先輩がいない。
I have a bad feeling about this. Whatever's happened here, it's clearly gone horribly wrong.
アルクエイド、降りよう。あれもう始まってるよな。
I try to calm my hammering heart as I shout to Arquade. She's got to understand the situation better than I do, which makes what she says next all the more dumbfounding.
私、嫌。
She turns her nose up at me like a sulking child.
嫌ってなんだよ。代行者がいてもいいって言ったじゃないか。
嫌なものは嫌なの。代行者なんてヤブカみたいなものだけど、あれだけは別。あいつに手を貸すぐらいなら太陽を抱いて眠ってもいいぐらい。
I also bet, kind of like the first route, her route, she kind of wants to show off to Shiro. Oh my god, to Shiki. I'm confusing the two main characters already. In other words, she'd rather die. Strange but appropriate metaphor. Not that it clears up my confusion.
あいつってシエル先輩を知ってるのか、お前。
その名前口にしないで。あと式はここにいて。あれもうすぐ自滅するから。あの箱が壊れたらこの辺りは氷漬けよ。私のそばにいないと式も死んじゃうからね。
Ciel's going to burn herself out. And what's going to happen if that cube breaks?
この辺りってどの辺りまで。
この町全部じゃない？具体的に言うと半径10キロぐらい。でも絶対に手は貸さないから、私。
She won't even look me in the eye.
絶対って今さら何言ってんだよ。お前な、先輩がそんなに嫌いなのか、恨みでもあるのか。いや、あるんだな、あるんだろうよ。でもそれとこれは関係ないだろう。今殺すべきはブローブなんだから。
だからあいつなんてどうでもいいの。どうでもいいからどうでもいいの。ええ、殺すべきはブローブの方よ。今から行けば楽に殺せるわよ。でも行かない。どうでもいいやつがいるから。あいつがどうでもよくなるまで私は何もしませんからねーった。
Moron. Arquade is a total moron. I don't know what kind of history they have, but one thing is clear. As long as Ciel's down there, she isn't budging.
だいたいこうなったのもあなたたちの自業自得じゃない。ブローブ一人を止められないようじゃこんなちっぽけな集まりいつ崩壊してもおかしくないんだし。弱い生き物は弱い生き物らしくおとなしく全滅するのが自然の摂理よ。
I'm so taken aback that my brain somehow resets. I actually circle all the way back around to cool-headedness.
バカ野郎、そこまで分かっていて助けに行かないのか。行かないんだな。人間なんてどうでもいいんだな。やっぱり吸血鬼なんだな、この分からずや。
はあ、式の方こそここまで言ってあげたのに分からないの。私が手を貸すのは式の
もういい、勝手にしろこのわがまま女。バカバカ。
With one last drive, I run for the roof exit. I can't trust Arquade to help me anymore. I'll just have to make my own way down and get a better sense of what's happening. I cut through the lock on the door with my knife. Unfortunately, there's no elevator on the top floor. Come on, come on, come on! I hurtle down the stairs by the glow of the emergency lighting. Although I'm planning to plunge straight into the frozen maelstrom of a vampire's rage, I don't feel frightened. The reason is simple. I'm too frustrated, too sad, and too angry to be scared. Go extinct with grace, huh? We'll see about that. My own misapprehensions make me want to scream. Arquade is just following her nature. She isn't stupid, and she certainly isn't evil. She's just an inhuman being with an inhuman perspective. I'm the idiot for expecting a vampire to abide by our norms.
それでも期 返したくて仕方がなかったんだよ。くそ。
It's not that I'm grateful she forgave a murderer named Shikitono. It's that I had hoped she was different, that she was special. I couldn't bring myself to hate someone with such an innocent smile. All I wanted, more than anything else, was to believe she was a good person. She still is. But that hope has died tonight, and I don't have time to mourn it. First, I'll get down to the ground floor as quickly as I can. I'll make sure that CL is safe. Then I'll face down Vlov and sever his line of death. I like how you said that like it was so simple. As a matter of fact. At last, I make it to an elevator. I throw myself inside and slam the button for the first floor. There's no more time for doubts. Even if there was, I'm in way too deep to voice them. I take a deep breath and check myself over. Good. Everything seems to be in working order. Like I said, I'm not afraid. I'll no longer hesitate to kill something that looks human. I left that naivety underground with the dead. My breathing quickens. My heart thumps faster in my chest like it's trying to break free from my body. I arrive at the first floor. Arcwood isn't going to help me anymore. I tighten my grip on my knife, then dash onto the swirling code. The monolith towers before me, an enormous cube-shaped hole in the world. The sides of the box are transparent, measuring over 40 meters each. The texture of its surface reminds me of acrylic plastic. Its blue-black tint isn't due to its walls, but to what they hold inside. White hailstones swirl about within. Icicles stand arrayed like fangs. A cold beyond human comprehension strains against its confines. This isn't a box, it's a cage. A cage for that which should not exist. A prison for that which must not be allowed to roam free upon the earth. And inside it...
Senpai!
She's in there. In a winter storm bitter enough to freeze the breath in her lungs. She's in there all alone, dueling with Vlov. The blizzard approaches -100 degrees Celsius. A cold more extreme than any natural temperature on the surface of the planet. In this icy wasteland so hostile to life, two warriors clash. One is Vlov Archangel, the wellspring of this frozen scourge. The other, an Executor, a young girl clad in armor. The fury of the blizzard blinds them. The grinding of the glacier underfoot thwarts their steps. And as their every breath brings them closer to death, bullets of ice clash against bullets of steel. 60 minutes have elapsed since the battle began. That it still continues is a marvel in itself. A handheld ballista dispenses a shower of 7.62mm fireworks. The bulky rounds known and feared for the excessive firepower streak toward the vampire. On human battlefields, the brutality of 8mm and 9mm bullets is typically harnessed to incapacitate rather than to kill. But this is no weapon for human battlefields. This is a tool for the vampire killer of the modern age, crafted to obliterate flesh and metal alike. Its name is Blaze. A personal mystic code of Executor CL, the immolation type, one of the 7 causes of death borne by her holy scripture. Its rain of bullets would shred a dead apostle whose power was measured in decades, as this vampire counts his age in centuries. Hot metal meets biting code. Modern technology meets the primal wrath of the planet. Their clash echoes the timeless struggle between man and nature. The vampire stands immobile, immutable. This arctic landscape is a hell of his own making, his greatest fear made manifest. The fear of freezing for want of blood. From this curse, Vlov Archangel draws his immortality. But so too does it bind him in frigid chains, and so long as it commands him, he remains rooted to the earth. Until the warmth of blood quickens him once more, he will remain where he stands, capable only of spreading his blight. However, the curse he bears is vast enough to swallow a city, but it cannot naturally produce a code this intense. The Executor has created these conditions by choice. Ordinarily, the vampire's influence would extend 4 kilometers in all directions, but enclosing it within a 40-meter cubic cage has condensed it to the extreme. The Executor's bounded field and her own body are, in a sense, one and the same. To prevent the howling blizzard from consuming the city, she has borne the full brunt of it herself. 100 degrees below zero is the least of the cold she must endure. Locally, the temperature can fall as low as negative 273 degrees, more commonly known as absolute zero. A deluge of raw malevolence that would freeze mortal flesh on contact. All that keeps her from death is the torture device forged on iron and lead that she has affixed to her body. A groaning suit of metal armor. The vampire's corrosive power may twist the laws of nature, but her armor, woven from concepts, exists outside them. Before it adorned her body, this coffin was called an Iron Maiden, an instrument of death designed to bleed its occupant dry with 1,000 needles. Let she who claims innocence prove it within. Survival shall damn her, while death shall clear her name. Those words led many to the Iron Maiden in the Dark Ages, cementing its legacy as a symbol of fear. But do not despair, for all alike shall face the same end. The coffin spares none, be they innocent or witch. Those locked within the Iron Maiden may find freedom only in death. To fall in the mercy of its perverse court is to be condemned to expire in captivity. A cursed iron ball gown, a conceptual weapon that serves only to inflict pain, and yet the Executor embraces it in all its cruelty. Death is the only escape from its clutches, as much is true. But that is also to say, until death comes, it will never release its hold. That is its true nature. This coffin cannot be destroyed by external trauma, only by its wearer's atrophy. Not even the most hostile environment could breach its defenses, including this hyperboreal code. No torment from without could surpass that found within. Thus does it constitute proof of innocence. Thus it was christened Virgin Pain. Regalia which embodies a protracted death of the torturer's hand. It is a saint's purity and providence, guaranteeing her life so long as her magical energy is not exhausted, so long as she is not proven a witch.
凄じいオドの消費だ。不死身という点で言えば死と以上だな、女。
A voice echoes in the white darkness. Words finally pried from the vampire's mouth, not by the code, but by true admiration for his enemy's tenacity.
だが、それにも限度がある。仮に貴様が無限に死に続けられるとしても、戦いは相手を殺さねば収まる。
She knows that he is right. Defense alone does not beget victory. A human stands no chance against the concentrated wrath of nature. Everything in her vicinity is a blade pointed at her throat. A barrage of icicles pummels her body. Her gun is sent spinning from her hands. It comes to rest far out of reach, planted in the ground like a grave marker.
さて、唯一の武器を落とした大公者。
He speaks as though this battle has already ended.
拾いに走るがいい。その背中を俺の槍が打ち砕く。
The vampire is well aware of the peculiarities of his foe's armor. As such, he knows it can only be destroyed by a stronger concept, more potent curse. The extreme code that surrounds him is a physiological function like breathing. It is no weapon. It cannot hope to shatter his enemy's aegis. There's only one answer to the concept of indestructibility, neutralizing it with its opposite. And here, fate favors his hand. For the knight's lance bestowed upon him by his lord came with a promise. In the hands of a vampire, there is nothing it cannot sunder. The battle weighs almost as heavily on Vlav as on Ciel. An errant strike is a risk he cannot take. So he has disarmed his foe, the better to secure his killing blow.
よく言いましたね。動けぬかかしの分際で。
Perhaps to his surprise, the Executor leaves her gun where it lies. It might be her primary weapon, but she is hardly defenseless without it. If anything, she was already looking for an opportunity to switch arms. The intricate machinery of an assault rifle is poorly suited to the bitter code. She knows it was only a matter of time before it jammed. It merely set the stage for a true fighting companion.
主の皆において第三の死因よ、キヨ。
The girl recites an incantation to herself. Long-range firearms are insufficient to keep her opponent pinned down. The time has come for her to draw her blade. The time for close combat. Oh my goodness. The Saint's blade rears its head. A gun and some armor is not all that makes up her arsenal. Blaze via immolation, sick via affliction, blade via exsanguination, break via traumatization, lost via damnation, pain via excruciation, punish via execution. 7 causes of death said to be fates humans must endure. This is the true nature for Holy Scripture. These deaths given form and wielded as weapons. With a bestial roar, she sprints toward the white hellscape. Heat and magical energy blaze in her wake, propelling her even faster. The glacier underfoot cracks with every bound as she closes in on her prey. Iron smashes against ice. The girl brandishes a brutal tool designed solely for the rending of flesh. A sword-like monster centipede, its legs the blades of guillotine studded along a whip-like spine. This pulverizing weight proudly wears the name Blade. Ooh! Punctured chest, a severed arm, a skull cleaved wide open. The Executor's blade mercilessly deals one fatal blow after another. But still, victory remains out of reach. A vampire is an immortal being, capable of recovering instantaneously from wounds that would kill any other living thing. To Vlav, this impossibility-heavy weapon is as threatening as a cool breeze. For now. A spark alights in his cold, lifeless eyes. Realizing that the lacerations in his chest, arm, and head are not fading, the vampire finally reaches an understanding. He is filled with neither anger nor hate. Within him, a new emotion is thawing. Joy.
人間の流儀はどこに置いてきた女。この剣筋は人を殺すために人が編み出したものではないか。
The Executor swings her weapon again in lieu of answering. But her fourth attack does not connect. The vampire's memory, lost to centuries of cold and solitude, has been resurrected by her swordsmanship. No more is he a mindless blight upon the world. Now he is once again the knight who overthrew his former lord.
なぜ知っているという顔だな。27層剣僧ベゼ。俺も昔一度だけ教えを受けた。時代を見るに、そうか。お前が最後の門弟か。
Two anomalous weapons clash against each other. A 3-meter lance carved from ice, and a 2-meter sword that coils like a serpent. A human could barely hope to lift either, let alone swing it. And yet these warriors handle them with exquisite precision. Oh no. The two are evenly matched in power, but it's clear which of them has the upper hand. The vampire's memory has been reawakened by the girl's blade, while her agility only deteriorates with each passing second. This battle is skewed against one fighter from its onset.
いいぞ。剣の腕は互角か貴様が上だ。だが人間であることが災いしたな。この結界、果たしてあと何分持つ。
The vampire's spear roars as it pierces the air. The Executor's sword turns to the side. Their battle transcends the bounds of human comprehension, raging on seemingly without end. Nevertheless, they hurtle toward the single moment that will decide everything. As soon as the girl shows the slightest sign of faltering, the knight will not hesitate to drive his lance through her heart. The frozen cage shudders. A cubic world expanding and contracting. The dark blue of its transparent walls has deepened to a murky black. Distant thunder rumbles from within, like the final scream of a creature faced with death. It's not going to last much longer. Even I can tell that this was a desperate gambit.
ノエル先生。
四季君、嘘、本当に来たの？ダメ、上に戻りなさい。シエルさんから部外者が来たら追い返すように言われているの。
今さら戻れません。それよりどうなってるんですかこれ。
どうって見ての通り、土地ごとブローブを封印したんだけど全然効かなかったの。応援は来ないし太陽は沈んじゃうしで、こうなったら逃げてもいい状況だったのに、あの子ったら一人で何とかするとか言い出して、出てきたブローブごと大聖堂をこの大きさまで圧縮して中に飛び込んじゃったのよ。それが1時間前の話。
So I was right. Ciel and Vlav are in there. I guess that Vlav was about to escape the rubble when Ciel, realizing that he was going to destroy the city, trapped him in this cage, then went inside herself to fight him. If it weren't for that cube, the blizzard I saw on the ground would have swallowed all of Soya by now. Arquay did say as much.
けどなんで先輩まで中に閉じ込めたんだから、先輩が入る必要はないでしょ。
あるわよ。あの結界はブローブの汚染を抑えるもので、ブローブ本体を抑えるものじゃないわ。誰かが中でブローブを仕留めないといけないの。
じゃあブローブを倒さない限り先輩は出てこないんですか。
そう。でも無理27層正面から撃退するなんて、いくらあの子でも絶対無理。あの呪いを一人で受け止めてるだけでも嘘みたいな奇跡なのに。
Miss Noelle is teetering on the brink of hysteria. The situation must be truly dire to have someone far more experienced with vampires than I am this rattled.
くそ。
I look up at the cube's implacable walls. Although its contents are clearly visible, the black blizzard within it is like a different world. The cube is only 40 meters on each side, but its interior looks far larger than the crater it's standing in. A box that distorts space and time, in which Ciel is fighting for her life against an immortal monster.
変わってる。先輩は負けてないのに。
She is valiant, determined, unyielding. She isn't giving Vlav a single inch. But this blizzard is sapping her strength and freezing her bones. It's incredible that she can even move at all. If only this had been a fair fight. If only she hadn't had to create this cage to stop the spread of the cold. If she had fought him on even terms, she would have beaten him by now. I grind my teeth in frustration. These conditions are far too unfair. Her body is far too battered. She no longer has the strength to defeat Vlav alone. She needs someone else, another hand to support her, to fight for her, to give her the will to carry on. I take off my glasses. I take a hard look at the barrier at my enemy within. Vlad might be too powerful for me to take on myself, but I would have been hers to wield, if only she'd asked. Is he gonna cut the barrier? I hope he's not gonna cut the whole barrier down. The fingertips I've unconsciously stretched out freeze over in an instant. I can't go in there. I'll die. Remember what happened when you got too close to Vlad last time? Human beings can't function in that kind of code. Our blood freezes, our cells rupture, our brains die. We aren't made to deal with vampires. Besides, I'm far too late. I watched their silhouettes speed towards each other in the snowstorm. The armored girl has grown too slow by far. Too sluggish to avoid the lance closing in on her like a thunderbolt. Oh, no! I see her figure run through, sent flying. Pinned against the wall of her own cubic world like a sinner on the cross. And as her body breaks, so too does her bounded field.
大変大変でも今からじゃ間に合わない私も氷漬けになっちゃう
With Ciel's defeat, her gothic fort shatters. The world freezes over. An Arctic front spreads outwards at 160 kilometers per hour, devouring everything in its path. In its midst, Ciel's body arcs through the air like a rag doll. And all I can do is watch as everything comes to ruin.
いや、違う。
The end I brace for never comes. As expected, a blast of frigid air swallows the crater. But I don't freeze. Rather, I feel a warmth rise within me, fighting back the cold. I open my eyes and look up. The Arctic front has stopped short of the city. The blizzard rages on, but only within the confines of the crater. And on a rooftop far above it all, with her arm raised high and a scowl on her face, I see Arcwade.
あいつ
Oh, thank goodness. I find myself grinning uncontrollably. Judging by the ice sheathing the ground, the air is still less than negative 40 degrees, but I can breathe without issue. The apparent temperature might even be closer to freezing, warm enough for a human like me to survive for at least a few minutes. The face. I sense that this is Arcwade's best offer. Helping Ciel remains a line she won't cross, but she's upheld her promise as best she can. By keeping Vlav contained, she's still protecting us and the city at large.
なら
Now it's all up to me. I have to save Ciel and put an end to Vlav. Something tells me that those two goals are one and the same. I look towards Ciel, look towards Vlav. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. We're gonna look towards Ciel. Holy crap, she's a mess. I turn my gaze to Ciel. The same strike that shattered her bounded field buried her underneath a mound of rubble. She's lying about 50 meters away. First things first, I have to help her. Keeping one eye on Vlav, I dash through the snowstorm. Ciel has been launched to the very edge of the crater, to a particularly large mound of debris.
先輩しっかりしてくれ先輩
I call her name, trying to bring her around. She's covered in cuts and scrapes, but I don't see much blood. Her armor has come loose, exposing the layer of clothing beneath. In answer to my cries, the swell of her chest, deathly still until now, visibly shudders. Thank goodness, she's alive.
聞こえますか苦しいだろうけど起きてシエル先輩
I glance at Vlava out of the corner of my eye as I check her over. And my blood runs cold. He was completely still a moment ago, but now he's walking ponderously towards us step by step. His lance was shattered by the blow that finished Ciel, leaving a smaller spear in its place. His left arm, which I cut off in the catacombs, is returned, but it hangs limply by his side. The restoration must be purely cosmetic. In function, it remains dead. It's not hard to see that he's close to exhaustion, which makes his intentions all the more clearer. He marches forth, in defiance of his failing body, to deliver the killing blow to his cornered prey.
先輩よかった気がついた話は後です早く起きてグローブが来ます
はいありがとうござなんで遠野くん夢じゃないですよねバカなんですかあなたはなんで本当に来てるんですかあんなに家に帰ってくださいってお願いしたじゃないですか
A dumbfounded Ciel berates me from where she lies. I definitely can't blame her for being angry, but this isn't the time.
怒るのは後ああもう 引っ張りますよ。いいですね。ってうわ重っ。先輩すげえ重くないですか？
遠野くんは非力なだけです。平均よりちょっとあるだけです。いいから早く逃げて。あなたは関係ありません。今ならまだ間に合うはずです。
Ciel tries to break free from my grip. Even in her current state, she's still concerned about me.
逃げれば助かるんですか？
I let my heart speak for me. She must know as well as I do that running won't save me now. There's nothing to be gained by trying, and plenty to be lost. At best, it would buy me no more than a short reprieve. If we can't defeat Vlav here and now, this is the end.
遠野くん、それは。
そうだろう先輩。逃げても解決しない。戦うしかない。さっきみんなのために先輩がそうしたように。
That night, when she told me that I could still be redeemed,
本当の意味で助かりたいのなら怖くてもここであいつを殺さないと。
after all, what else am I good for? Murder on a hair trigger is my only talent. But so what? This battle doesn't have to be my redemption. Even if I'm only proving myself a murderer. If it'll put an end to the death looming over us, I'll gladly leap back into the mouth of hell.
とにかく任せて。一緒にやらせてくれ先輩。
確かに遠野くんはグローブの腕を切り落としましたけど。いえ、ダメです。だって理由がない。あなたにはそれだけのことをする理由がありません。
It isn't that she's denying my reason for being here. She's refusing to use me to win a battle I have no stake in. She must be an angel. Why else would she be trying to protect a life so worthless as mine?
それじゃご褒美をください。あいつをやっつける手助けをしたら。
Damn it, I can't think of anything on the spur of the moment. The only reward that comes to mind is what's in front of me. Frankly, I can't tear my eyes away from her. The sight of her shapely form would drive any man mad with desire. As a healthy teenage boy, it's only natural that I can't help but come up with such ideas. Though I'm sure saying any of them aloud would only earn me a punch in the face. So I'll set my sights a little lower. Should I ask for a number? For a friend request? Damn it, what am I even thinking? I can do that anytime I want. I'm such an idiot. But I feel myself smiling and realize that this is a perfect way to do it. I mean, I like this person. Really like her. She's the reason I'm here in the first place. So what's wrong with imagining a tomorrow with her, even with Blob bearing down on us?
決まった。今度先輩の弁当を分けてください。それで手を打ちます。あ、もちろん手作りで。
はあ？でも私料理なんて1個ぐらいしか作れません。
じゃあそれでとっておきっぽくていいですね。
I don't have any clever tricks up my sleeve. I don't even have a coherent strategy. I'm just running my mouth because I know we're out of time. I force myself to look away from Ciel, focusing on Blob. I know what I have to do. I'm going to use my eyes for her. As I steal my resolve, someone takes my trembling hand from behind.
先輩。
2つ必ず守ってください。吸血鬼の正面には立たないで背後に回ることに専念する。
はい。あと一つは。
私のことは何があっても考えないように。もう言うまでもありませんが、鉄みたいに頑丈ですから。
Her voice is steeped in self-deprecation and shame. It instantly sends me crashing back down to earth. I curse myself for forcing those words from her lips. With a nod, I let go of her hand. I immediately miss the softness of her touch. I step away from her and face down the approaching vampire. The massacre at the hotel, the nightmare of the catacombs. I recall the horrors I've seen, reach out to them for strength, and then stop myself. I have a minute left at most before my body starts to falter. In that time, I need to cast aside my human emotions. I'll leave both fear and euphoria behind. Until this is done, I will trust in my eyes and become an instrument of death. A fleeting thought crosses my mind, that the flame of life burning high and bright shines like the stars above. For the first time, our eyes meet. Vlad registers my presence. I might be as fragile as any other human, but my sting is deadly toxic. He knows full well that he ignores me at his peril. For a moment, I even wonder if he might talk face to face. But mutual understanding means nothing to us. I don't consider him a living being, and he sees me as nothing more than an object. Thus, are we equal in each other's eyes? We already know all we need to from one another. I close the distance between us at a sprint. 40 meters. Woefully short for our final engagement. 4 seconds on the clock. 2 breaths in my lungs. He sends his spears of ice flying past me. Vlad is no fool. He would rather finish Ciel off before she can recover than waste his time on me. No time to look back. Grinding my teeth, I enter striking range. A knife against a spear. There's no contest between our respective reaches. To get close enough to cut his lines of death, I must first weather the incoming strike. His spear shoots towards my chest, propelled by inhuman strength. Evasion is out of the question. How? I don't know, but this vampire is no longer a simple force of nature. A spark gleams in his eyes. Reason and experience guide his hand. He no longer relies on sheer brute force. In other words, we are one and the same. 2 creatures fighting desperately for their own survival. His spear never gets close. A blow from behind knocks it wildly aside. The bond of battle we share grants me a glimpse of Ciel's true power. This woman's parameters exceed Vlav's and mine put together. If we are single-purpose tools, then she is advanced machinery. So begins our 60-second waltz. The Executor trades blows with the vampire face to face. The assassin circles with his blade, searching for an opening. The knight keeps both foes in sight, careful never to leave his back unguarded. Our clashing blades weave a deadly melody, a symphony of steel played with razor precision. Ciel's guillotine blades swing in spiral formation. My knife threads its way through the gaps, spears of ice knock them both aside, trying to disrupt our harmony. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Our performance is improvised, but we follow the steps to perfection. She creates openings for me to slip into, and I take care not to tread on her toes. Together we dance on the edge of a knife. Electricity crackles between us, growing ever stronger. With every second my focus sharpens. To kill my foe, I must keep my eyes on him. Never have I gazed so long into a single death. It's spellbinding. And in its deepest, darkest depths, I glimpsed the light of a principle. Something beyond my mortal comprehension. A light that a human mind with its understanding constructed from language and memory should not be able to see. But death is a universal 0 point. And through that lens, my mind's eye shifts into focus. I see memories of snowfields. I see memories of persecution. I see memories of exile. I see memories of salvation. I see memories of rebellion. I see a single night's story brought to an end. Convicted of false charges, driven from his home by political machinations. Sent in punishment to the ends of the earth, to the uninhabitable wasteland of the Arctic Sea. Cast adrift in the frozen ocean, cursed to live in exile. Consumed by cold, consumed by pain. And when it was hollow and spent, a woman like a rotted tree, seeking refuge from kin and mankind alike, proved his salvation. I think this is the first time we're really seeing his past, too. Spring came to him again for a time. He found joy in the flowers blooming in the snowfields, in the birdsong in the barren trees, in the pleasant slaughter of men. He took 10 wives who gave him comfort. His loyalty to his lord was as steadfast as the sturdiest glacier. But the pain within his soul was beyond healing. His thirst for warmth was beyond his power to fight. In his desperation to flee the gnawing cold, he forsook his honor. While it may have been at another's behest, it was by his own hands that he snuffed out his only light. This is the truth of the man before me. This is the truth of the vampire named Vlav. A creature forged of code, of treachery, of exile, of remorse. Now at last I can kill him. A principle that can be expressed in human words lies within human reach. Rejoice, bloodsucker, for now I bring your final death. The sea below and the canopy above sing in chorus. O ancestors, may ye be cursed. O world of man, may ye be cursed. For this principle is not yet whole, and the foundation of this star is also frail.
Summer.
His naked fury scorches my skin. My consciousness returns to me with a jerk.
俺の何を見た
More than enough.
遠野くん下がって
I hear a voice, but I don't even have the strength to move my eyes. Stupid, foolish, I went too far. My head spins from lack of oxygen. I'm too disoriented to look at Ciel. I can't even follow the path of the spear bearing down on me. "20 meters opens between us in the span of a heartbeat. Ciel's arms encircle me from behind. She's hauled me out of Vlav's reach. I don't have time to catch my breath. I can feel his murderous ire even from here. All he desires in this moment is my death.
先輩話してくれ
I speak without turning around. The arms around my waist loosen their grip. Behind me, I hear the clank of a great weight being hefted.
お互い限界ですね。自分の体がどんな状態なのか把握していますか？
はいもう右腕ぐらいしか上がりません
The pain searing through my eyes is beyond words. Orbs of flames burn in my eye sockets. My headache will probably split my skull open well before my lungs give out.
そうですか。ではまだ信じていいんですね。
もちろんここからが本番です
I nod, wondering why I'm grinning. An odd pang twinges in my chest. I realize, not for the first time, how good it feels to be understood by someone else no matter the circumstances.
よし行くよ先輩
任されました。まっすぐにできることだけをしてください。
No more detours. I launch myself straight for Vlav with Ciel half a step behind me. A deluge of icicles flies forward to greet us. All of them are aimed at me as proof I have been elevated from nuisance to nemesis. But none hit their mark. With a deafening volley of gunfire, Ciel turns the lethal barrage into so much rain. I should have known this fighter would never retreat without reason. She only withdrew us to retrieve her dropped weapon. One more breath. In one more breath, I will sever that light. But the gulf separating me from it is vast. Vlav is just as hell-bent on survival as we are. Even weakened as he is, his abilities still far exceed human parameters. I have no hope of dodging his blow, not on my own. So I stake my life on Ciel. How did he weigh his options, I wonder? Me racing across the ground, Ciel backing me up from the air. In this fraction of a second, he realizes that Ciel is the greater threat, that she will be the one to kill him. And yet, in defiance of his screaming instincts, he chooses me, the insect crawling on the earth. This is no act of mindless rage. This is a warrior's intuition deliberately suppressed by force of will. He is a knight now, not some vampire mired in paranoid delusions. To choose the lesser foe constitutes a truly inhuman act of self-control. Anger alone could not explain this. No, this is pride that compels him. honor that he would give his very existence to defend. How noble, but also so foolish. The same foolishness that brought you to these foreign shores. An inescapable iron fist crashes down to earth. Here in this ultimate extreme, we have all bet our lives. She is no exception, as though lighting the way for me to follow. Her blow splits the ground asunder, and Vlov's body with it. Two impact causes his spear ship to falter. His spear tip, my bad. My head stays attached to my body by the grace of a few millimeters. An icicle punctures my left shoulder. No matter, I shake off the impact and close in. My knife slides into the vampire's chest with astonishing ease. I fall to the frozen ground, writhing in agony. My brain feels like it's on fire. My body is racked with pain stemming from the tip of my knife, as though I had stabbed his chest with my bare fingers rather than a blade. Through the haze of pain, I vaguely realized my mistake. I looked too closely. It wasn't the vampire's body my knife found, but the fire burning within. I wasted my chance. If only I kept my eyes on his death. If only I hadn't been distracted by the light, I could have killed him. Freed at last from the curse consuming his body and soul. Now, a mere dead apostle once more, he lunges towards me. But a serpentine blade blocks his path. Ciel's extending sword wraps around him and begins to squeeze. The guillotine spins with a metallic clatter. A tornado springs around the executor, launching the vampire high into the air. His weapon transforms. Her weapon transforms. In place of a sword, she holds an oversized stake driver, primed to skewer the vampire as he falls. Oh! An inescapable death rises to greet him. Her blow does not so much spear his chest as shatter his torso, yet his talons still reach out, grasping. The raw hatred this monster spews now is beyond what I have seen before.